One of my favorite things about the Total War games has never been to play the game to win. I'm not a very competitive person, I don't know why, I'm just not. So winning at anything really isn't the main objective with what I do usually. Usually, I've found it's finding out how things work. One of the reasons why you haven't seen videos from me the past week is because I'm not really curious about Attila and how things work anymore, because I think my understanding of it is it's not complete by any means, but there are few things that I don't know about the game, which of course, I mean, you could say that games should be played and not dissected. For me, both of those things kind of go together. It's really fun to play a game while I have to meet the challenge by learning more about the game. That's what gaming is about, for me at least. Not necessarily defeating an opponent, but coincidentally, using armies against a human opponent is the only way to get to be able to practice the things we find out in on the battlefield. The AI is just too incapable to be able to offer any kind of challenge. So this is a case where we have a unit of, and that's what I love about testing stuff and finding stuff out, is that you get tools for specific scenarios. Like here we have Nordic Horse Lords up against Royal Lancers. Now 3 ranks deep, the Lancers will absolutely destroy the Nordic Horse Lords. So we know that infantry that charges sideways into a formation that is thin at the front and very deep. A lot of the charging infantry, instead of wrapping around like this when charging, what's going to happen is that the units in the center are going to charge, hit the units here, and then a lot of the units are going to continue past and then come back in, which makes it so that fewer of the units in the narrow formation. In this scenario we have 6 ranks deep, 6 ranks wide, 10 ranks deep, and what's going to happen here is that the Nordic Horse Lords are going to get hit, not going to get hit with the full force of the Royal Lancers on the charge, and with their 270 charge bonus, that is very important for the Nordic Horse Lords, because the Nordic Horse Lords are going to be able to defeat the Royal Lancers in the end if they don't take too many casualties on the charge. And here they don't really take any casualties on the charge. This is a very good result for the Nordic Horse Lords. They take about, well, 9 casualties on the charge, something like that, and then they're going to start grinding, and that's a very, very good result for the Nordic Horse Lords. The Nordic Horse Lords will get absolutely wrecked if they just charge headlong into Royal Lancers. Now you can see that the Royal Lancers haven't really lost much yet, but they are going to start losing men here. So if we speed this up, the Nordic Horse Lords start to get the advantage over the Royal Lancers. Now it's just it turns into a slaughter for the Nordic Horse Lords, and the Nordic Horse Lords are actually going to win this engagement with 40 men remaining. Now that is a massive result compared to what would happen if the Nordic Horse Lords charged in 3 ranks deep. 3 ranks deep or 2 ranks deep or any other similarly matched fairly thin line would mean that the shock cavalry destroys the melee cavalry. So this is, in a one-on-one engagement, this is very useful if you don't have Wedge and Wedge or Diamond. It doesn't slow you down, it doesn't confer any penalties. It basically just means that more men survive the charge, so it's very beneficial in that way. Now, of course, something that has to be considered is infantry support, and what happens when infantry support enters the fray, because these royal lancers are of course going to be followed by Burgundian axemen most of the time, which is a problem. Melee cavalry is going to die very quickly to Burgundian axemen, so that requires a different set of tools, but at least here you have a tool that is very effective at stopping enemy shock cavalry if you have inferior charging melee cavalry that needs to take as few casualties on the charge as possible. Strength and honor.